What up, what up, what up, y'all? What a wonderful audience you've been. What a
They have been. I mean, I like the fact that they actually stuck around in the studio while we were on hiatus and never left. They just did Grubhubs and shared bathroom breaks and didn't go anywhere. And I appreciate that about them. So we could not do it without them. And we could also not do it without you. So thank you, everyone, for coming back to Conversations with Hannibal and Jupiter. I am Jupiter. And
I am Hannibal. I
made it sound like I didn't believe you. Like, I feel like you didn't say it with conviction. I am Hannibal.
I am Hannibal.
I am Hannibal. Yes, I think you should put that everywhere. Every time you walk into a room, you just say, I am Hannibal. And whether people are talking to you or not, that's all it is. So, I can't get comfortable tonight.
But people always come up with that. They're always like, oh my God, what does that name mean? What y'all go to Merriam-Webster and find out?
Not Webster's. I mean, the thing is, at one point it was a very popular name. And the other part is there wasn't only one Hannibal. And if you were into eating people and cannibalism, then I don't think you would have just come up with the name Hannibal. Like, you would have kind of diverted to something else that didn't scream, hey, guess what? I eat human flesh. Call me Hannibal. Like, come on. That is so weird. Right. But it is not your government name. We know. I think I could even say that, if I told people my name really was Jupiter, I could be like, my parents were flower childs back in the 60s and 70s. And so they just came up with a fun little whimsical name for the little boy. Speaking of poses, today my son had to take school pictures, and I am dreading seeing them. I did threaten him this morning, and I tried to get some reassurance this afternoon that he did actually take a good picture that I want to pay for. So we will see what happens with that. So you are on, I want to say Zone, but it's not Zone. What are you doing? What's the thing again? You're not eating meat. You're not eating carbs. Keto. I said Zone.
I am on keto.
Keto. Okay. It was a diet. It's okay. I can say.
So it's working. So let's say that it is working. It was very rough that first week because I dived directly into it. And I was told that that's not how you do it. Like, I should have eased my way into it. It was like one day I was having like a double bacon cheeseburger with extra bread on it and extra cheese. And the next day I am eating
simple appetizer meal. Yeah, I get it.
Right. I am eating like a cauliflower and shrimp stir fry and cabbage. And like literally that's how drastic my diet changed. And I literally removed all sugar and carbs from my diet. And I got so sick to where I couldn't even drive myself home from the freaking Wally World one day, so it was just weak. And the nurse practitioner talked to me about it once I explained to her what I was doing. It was like, hey, you kind of do still need sugar, They don't like you to eat it, but you kind of still need it. This is what happens when you take it away from your body. So I'm no medical or health professional. I'm just saying, as for me and this body, we are now eating fruit.
Okay. Are you seeing a difference?
I am.
Now that you're out of that angry phase.
Right. So not as drastic as week 1. The first week I lost 14 pounds. So this week I've kind of lost like 2.5 to 3. Reasonable, but slow and steady is good.
See, I think about it. I've done those kind of diets before here and there. It's a little harder now being a parent because it sometimes looks odd having 2 different meals. And so I wouldn't want to go and put my child on keto if they didn't have to be. But I always think about like when you get into doing diets, like I never did it, and it's like you said, I never slowed down to do it. It was kind of like cold turkey. I'm not doing this on Monday. On Sunday night, this is my last supper, and then on Monday, I'm gonna jump into this. And then the problem was all those things I wasn't supposed to eat were still in the house, and they were calling me at like 11:30 p.m., 1 a.m. when I get up to go to the bathroom. They were just calling me. I mean, I feel like Lil Debbie was on my shoulder with the pitchfork. Like, it's just so weird. Like, and I always think maybe I should have ate all of this food first, and then I had nothing in the house. So if I had to go to the store to buy this stuff, maybe I would have been compelled not to do it. I don't know.
So one of the things that I found out is I did have to get rid of the extras in the house. So potato chips are my vice. I love a good potato. I like my hood chips too. So I love a good old piece of potato chip. I do. I love everything hood. And people look at me and they be like, he does not like the hood. And I'm like, child, I'm most comfortable in the hood. You can sit me in the middle of the project with bullets flying. And I'm like, child, because somebody passed red Kool-Aid. I'm so at peace amongst my people.
Were you talking about your last experience at the barbershop in New Orleans? Was that what that was?
Okay. Oh boy. But I don't know. I mean, I guess that's.
Why did you throw that stuff away? That's what I'm saying. Like I said, so I know that it was calling me. I would have my cheese.
I didn't say I threw it away. I said I got rid of it. I ate that stuff. I paid for it. Food is high. Food is high. I went right on and ate it. I bust them chips down the center. I said, shoot, look, I'm going to eat this.
You made it sound as if you actually.
No, that's how you interpreted it. That's how you interpreted it.
I'm sorry. That was my interpretation.
I ate that food. Yes, I did. Yes. Times is hard.
But the thing is, if you can't have carbs, like, will you ever be able to have carbs again, or there's just no carbs ever again?
It's not no carbs ever again from my perspective. It is counting your carbs and keeping your carbs below a certain number. So right now, I'm probably averaging about 10 carbs a day, which is probably more than people think you should have on keto. But for me, I feel it's healthy. I feel it's a healthy number for me at my size and my activity level because I need the energy. I need that fuel. So, and I know you can fuel your body with protein, but my protein fuel and my sugar fuel are 2 different things. They just feel different to me. I get very weak when I don't have, something sweet or something sugary in my system. So, and I'm not diabetic, but it's just a different push of energy to me. So there we have it. I eat me an apple, or I'll eat, an orange, or I've got watermelon and honeydew melon and stuff like that. So I change it up, but every 2 hours I am eating something. I'll have either a shake for breakfast or a nice heavy breakfast, and I'll substitute a meal with a shake. And in between, I'll have a piece of fruit, and I'm not talking like a huge fruit, but maybe like a cup, enough to fill my hand of a fruit. And that's my snack in between, or nuts or something like that in between, just to kind of keep me fueled to the next meal. And then at 8:00, there's no more eating from 8 to 8.
I mean, something you do that I wish I was a lot better at, which is weird because I'll tell my son that he needs to do it. I'm not really good at breakfast. Like we've been away before, and I realized like you like an old fashioned plantation breakfast, and I just am really bad with breakfast. I am so bad with it, and I'm okay with breakfast. Like if it's a little later, hashtag I'm going to brunch. But just like when I'm up at 6, the last thing I think about is eating breakfast.
So with me, I was not a breakfast person until I
Mm.
became a caregiver. And so being a caregiver, I could not feed my father a cold breakfast or have him not eat breakfast, right? Dad had to eat breakfast. So it was my thing to get up and cook him breakfast. And I had to get up daily and make breakfast. So therefore, I just kind of got into it and perfected what I would have for breakfast every day. So, and we had something different every single day for breakfast 7 days a week, so it's just French toast one day, omelets one day, have salmon croquettes one day, you know, shrimp and grits one day. We might do fried fish the next day. And who knows, we may do, I don't know, a quiche one day or something, just whatever I have time for,
So
but
white woman of you to have a
a
quiche
quiche.
Lorraine.
I tell you what, my good friend Lynn is the one who taught me how to make a good quiche. And she used to make a salmon quiche. And so I have learned to make a salmon quiche. And it is one of the best dishes that I make is a salmon quiche. And
Okay.
so, it takes a little time. It's a bit expensive, but it's something that I can have 2 or 3 days out of the week and it not, seem odd to
Mm-hmm.
serve multiple times because it's really good. And then sometimes, we'll switch it up and have breakfast for dinner.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
always
it's something that you can kind of throw in there and just keep moving. We need a quick meal. So that's how I got into breakfast. I was naturally not a breakfast person. I was more of let me get a cup of coffee, maybe a butter roll on the run, and we keep it moving if that. Yeah.
yeah. I like bagels, but I don't like the inside, so I scrape the inside out. I'm not gonna probably eat a whole bagel. Um, yeah, I struggle with breakfast foods and figuring out how much to buy and what to buy. And usually I'll just have enough for to eat the same exact breakfast every week. And now I'm bored with it and then I don't want it anymore. And so, I know I'm bad with breakfast. And I
You
can
should do
make breakfast.
croquette.
Yeah. I think also breakfast takes so many dishes to me. It's like, are you kidding me?
Really?
It's like you gotta have a pan, a saute pan to make the eggs, and then something for like for us is the plant based sausage, or maybe shrimps or something like that. Then to make grits, that's another pot. Then the spoon for that, tongs. It just seems like a lot. I
You need
like a
an air
one.
fryer.
So maybe the quiche would be better to do everything in one. And okay, I'll try to be fancy and make quiches. Speaking of
And you can
something
make
that
them individually. You buy the big, buy the extra large muffin pans, and you can
mhm.
make them individually. So therefore,
Okay.
you're not making a quiche pie. You're making individual ones, and
Okay.
you can
Okay.
store them a little better in the refrigerator.
All right. That seems a little bit more my speed. So now that you're doing this, how do you
Mhm.
go out in public? I know, like, you in the South, you guys are some real big meat eaters, but yeah, like your potato salad, your macaroni and cheese, the rice, those things.
I am very conscious of the fact that I am not eating certain things. Like I had fast food today, but I just kind of needed it, right? So in order to eat fast food, I went to Wendy's, which is my favorite fast food restaurant. And I had like a baconator sandwich, which is 2 pieces of meat, 2 pieces of cheese, and bacon, lettuce, and all that stuff on there. So I removed the bun, held the ketchup, and now I really have protein and veggies.
Okay.
So I ate the meat, and I got the kick that I wanted from a burger. I just left the carbs on the side. And a lot of people who are in keto would be like, oh, well, you still had mayo. That was it. Well, child, yes, I did. It was already in between them.
You
I'm
can't have
not.
condiments?
So most condiments carry sugar, with the exception of
True,
like
right.
mustard,
That's
with the
true,
exception of like
yeah.
mustard, garlic parmesan, and hot sauce. So I do have like I made yesterday for dinner some garlic parmesan wings, and for lunch I had these hot wings that I made, and they were pretty good, but I'm trying to still feel my way around the meal plan for keto so that I am not disinterested in it. So
Are you finding that when you go places, I'll say for me, when I went pescatarian, I realized after a while I should stop talking about it because I didn't need to hear everybody's opinion about it. And
yes.
and that was so hard. The pescatarian thing is, fish and seafood only. And I can eat
Mhm.
everything else. But then it'd be like, oh, have these collard greens. And I'm like, yeah, this is a big old ham hock in there. So I really can't do that. Or you
Mhm.
make your potato salad and you put bacon in it. Okay, I'm not gonna sit here and pull the bacon out. So you look at things like that, and I got to a point, like I said, where I just got tired of talking about it. So I would kind of fill myself up a little bit before I went somewhere. And then when I got there, if they had some sides that weren't like meat based, or meat seasoned, I wouldn't even say based, but meat seasoned, then I would do that. So what is your transition to doing this of how when you go out with your family functions?
So like I'm very aware of the food around here. We see where I live. I'm
You're looking
very
like I
aware.
see you. I see you, food. I see exactly how y'all do. I
So
see you.
I'm very aware of the food around here. And when I go out, I just order what I want and I kind of know what to remove now
Mm-hmm.
from it. And I don't make the order difficult for a waitress or the person taking my order. I'll remove it at the table unless it's something that I know you can make it without, like a burger without mayonnaise or a burger without
Mm-hmm.
ketchup. Oh, cool, that's fine. And especially in most sit down restaurants, your burger is going to come open faced anyway,
Right.
so perfect. And I can just eat what I want like that. And that's it. That's really it. I mean, it's no struggle. I've even found a way to go out and have cocktails. If I wanted cocktails, I can do vodka and tonic, because that's the lowest calorie, lowest sugar
Mm-hmm.
drink out there. That's not my drink. So,
No, I mean we don't want to say the brand, but we know that brand. She's good. She's good. Period. Like she do right. Um, I know. I
so
like a brown liquor too. But I like gin over vodka. So if I could, but
right. So, and
some
I've
people
even
just don't like
found
the
that
taste of gin.
the whiskey is
Mm-hmm.
another great choice on keto. The
Okay.
whiskey on the rocks is a really good choice on keto. So I can kind of do a whiskey on the rock minus the flavored whiskey and be okay. So I think I'll be fine in that aspect. I don't plan to drink a lot on keto, but I do think I'll be fine in doing it.
And I think traveling is the hardest with
Mhm.
it. Like we have a friend who travels a lot for work, and it's hard to stick to certain diet plans or food lifestyle changes when you're especially like going on vacation. It's kind of like you leave all that
Mhm.
stuff at the door and then you're like, oh, I gotta start back over again when I get home. And I
Mhm.
think that is it's not fun because it feels like you're like tricking your body. It's almost like you told your body, I don't need this, I'm okay without it. And then you start doing it again, and your body's like, thank you very much. And then you go back to it. And it's like,
Mhm. Yep.
it's tough. It's,
So,
yeah.
you know, I guess topic 2 of the
Mhm.
of tonight, we can mosey right on over there to that.
I don't mosey very often, so
Yeah, I love it.
this is what
Topic.
moseying feels like.
Well,
Okay.
kind of like we're on a show. We're gonna get on down the road.
Look,
Just get on
look, this
down the
shirt
road.
don't look. This don't have a hood, but I thought I was gonna put my hood over my head, but it don't have a hood. Okay.
Oh,
We're moseying, we're moseying,
so
we're
that conversation
moseying.
just seemed so. That conversation just seemed so professional that we just
Well,
had.
I mean,
Like,
I wasn't trying to be professional at all. You know, that's not my thing.
mm,
But I do now that, like, you know, it's so hard to center your life when it's food is like the thing you're doing, you
it
know?
is, and like I get up in the morning and I practice ACT, right? And
Mhm.
so I get up in the morning, I meditate, and I try to center, and get my mind right for the day, to meet the challenges of the day. And one of the things that I try to center around is knowing what I'm going to do and what I'm going to eat for today. Like I kind of have an ideal of what I'm going to eat for today. Like tomorrow, I know I'm going to hang out with my friends in Mobile. And so on that journey, they already sent me like the restaurants that we're gonna go to because one of my friends is on keto also, which makes it that much easier.
That's easier.
So, we've already gotten the restaurants. I went over the menu. I kind of know what I want to have and everything on the menu. So it's gonna make it that much easier for me. But in other news, can we talk about like how when you go on a date
Okay.
and these people like be wanting you to pay for them and stuff and like child.
I mean, so okay, I guess my question, so are you talking about like a date or like a first encounter?
So like a date. So on a first
Okay.
encounter, I don't expect anyone to pay anything. You should be paying for yourself on the first encounter. The first time
Yeah.
you meet a person, you should be paying for yourself, whether it's male, female, male, non-binary to non-binary, cisgender to
They to them
non,
and them to they. I get it. Yeah.
whatever it is, everyone should be paying for themselves on the first encounter. But the first encounter should not be a five-star restaurant. That's not your first encounter. Your
No.
first encounter should be a place where you can sit down and talk and actually get to know each other. I know you said the other day we were chatting and you said you like the coffee houses, you
Right.
know.
I
Mhm.
always felt like the coffee houses were easy because I would get there a little early so I can get a good seat so I can see you when you first came in. And then I would already get my drink already. So I'm already sitting down waiting and it is what
Mhm.
it is. Uh, I think for like the second encounter, like if you're going to go to do something, maybe you could do something that's like fast casual. Like if you went to a Chipotle or something like that where you got to order your own food. And then while you paying, the other person is ordering their food
Mhm.
or something like that. But if you want to be like Red Lobsters is for lovers, I still feel like until you have something really established, because I've done this before. Oh, I'll pay this time. You get me next time. I don't see you again because you done said something that pissed me off between the last time I ate with you and now. And so I feel like it's a weird thing because people always want to make you call you cheap. And it's like it's not
Mhm.
about being cheap. It's like don't act like you the woman in this situation. Like, oh, a woman gets to get taken out and to get lobster. Like, no, we're two men. It's okay if you pay for your own food.
Exactly. And that's what's so crazy. And then some people have the ideal that I used to get this a lot in Atlanta. Well, you work a good job, you live in this neighborhood, you can afford, you don't know what my bills are and whether I can afford it or not.
Well, have you ever heard? Well, you invited me out to dinner. It's like, wait, because I
And
said
you
let's go
accept
out to.
it.
Yeah,
And
because
you
you
accept
never said let's go out to eat. So because I said let's go out to eat, that means I have to pay. Like,
yes.
no, who made up this rule?
Yes. Oh my God. So there are definitely rules to first encounters and rules to
Mhm.
first, second, and third dates. I feel like where I am now, people don't go on dates. Like I get approached by people who are silently trying to talk to you.
And what does that mean? I'm not from the South. What is
It's the
silently trying to talk
weirdest
to
thing
you?
in the world. It's the weirdest thing in the world. Like, so, I'm very reserved. You know that. What you see right now is what you get all the time, right? This is pretty much what you're gonna get all the time. Anyway, what you see is what you're gonna get. And like, I think people just don't walk up to you. I'm so used to being in larger cities where everybody's very open with who they are and their lifestyle and everything. And here in this area, people are so afraid of being ostracized by the church, or ostracized by their community or ostracized by their family or whatever. And I'm like, child, I'm 40 years old. I ain't going to nobody's closet. Not now. Now closet in town. Not now closet am I going in town.
I mean, you're so reserved. I don't know why you have a problem with being in the
I'm
closet.
still reserved, but people here will see you in the grocery store and they'll follow you around in a very stalkerish manner with their cart, trying to have this face-to-face encounter with you so they can be like,
that is so junior high school. Like, I don't get it. Like, follow the boy around the mall until he speaks to you and you're holding the same t-shirt. Like,
meanwhile, I'm like, hello, I carry. Okay, I carry. The stalking me in the vegetable aisle is not your best out. That is not what you want to do.
That's what gets you shot. Like, that's just like, that gets you shot.
So, but that's what they do here. That's what people do here. Some people do it here. And I mean, it's most of these people who are unable to live their life freely because so many different institutions have decided to, and when I say institutions, I'm talking about like businesses, churches, and their families and their friends and stuff like that, have decided to be very vocal about their dislike of people who are homosexual or whatever. And my thing is, child, you ain't got to like me. You ain't got to like me. I build my own spaces. If you don't want me on your job, fine, girl. I'm gonna create a job for me. We can go on.
To me, I think, like, have you ever thought about? Because I think that sometimes in our conversations off camera, you say things and you're like, "Don't laugh, don't laugh." But there's one thing that I have thought about in like a town like yours, like, if your birth rate is not high and you're not bringing a whole bunch of industry in, kind of like your situation where where you practice your faith, you don't have enough young people to inject this new pulse into it. What will these small communities do if you start to push people away? So in a sense, you push the gay kids out of town. And then you got the young folks that graduate from high school, they go to college and they get pushed out of town, and then they go somewhere to go to college and they realize, I ain't come back to this small town. What will be left? I'm not saying like gay people fix towns. That's not what I'm saying. And it could be the situation too. But I just think it's odd to push people out because of your beliefs and not realize that you're pushing everybody out. Because a lot of times people go to colleges where they're in major cities or something like that, and they start to get exposed to stuff that they were not.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about most straight males, unless they may have had a gay family member, most of the times they're introduced to gay males through their girlfriends. The gay guy is usually their girlfriend's good friend, and because he's hanging around and, okay, you chill, cool with her because I know you're not trying to sleep with her. And so now you got a cool gay friend. Mm-hmm. And so this may have not happened in the small town you were in. Now that I'm going to college, I'm seeing different things and all this other stuff. You may be in a town where now I can date white girls, and I couldn't do it when I was in my other town because it was, a small amount of us anyway in school. And I thought every black girl should be paired up with a black guy. So I don't know, like, is that something that you think people think about, or?
No. So, no. If you look back over the big town here, you guys went there for the Texaco. If you look back over the big town and its population, so for the last 50 years, this town has neither grown are shrunk by more than 500 people in the
Mm.
last 50 years.
That's kind of scary because it's kind of like the same faces. And when you have the same faces, you don't get like there's nothing new
There's no
injected into
progress.
it.
There's
Mm-hmm.
no progress. And so what happens is people like me, you graduate from high school, and like my mother was very instrumental in pushing us out of this town. My mother never wanted us to move back here. She will
Mm-hmm.
always say, "Get out of this town. Don't get stuck here. Leave, 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 leave. Get out of here. There's nothing for you to do here." Mind you, my mother, when she left high school, she left, she moved to New York. She lived there for a few years, 5, 6 years or so. And then she came back and she started teaching and different other jobs until she landed in mental health. But her goal was always to get out of here, because she saw this as a place where you just kind of got sucked in and you got so used to living this particular slow life, so you never ventured out of this life. And so I don't think these small towns realize what a disservice they do to themselves by attempting to harm people with their language um and their judgment of others. I
And the
don't think they realize.
standards, yeah, these
Right,
moral
because
standards and codes.
right. Because not only do you force away large businesses, they won't come to your little towns. When you look at East Alabama is thriving throughout small towns because you have large corporations that have landed there. You go into Northwest Central Alabama, they have large corporations that have landed there. When you get into my area, which is West Alabama, you don't see that
Mm.
because we are the heart of the Bible Belt. And when you're in the heart of the Bible Belt, you would think people would teach you to love, people would teach you to, just outpouring of love and mission work and all that, throwing your arms
I
around
mean,
people and
when you
caring,
talk about
which is
church
what
hurt, I don't see that. Yeah, that's not it.
which is what
So,
though, like the old saints would do. Like my grandmother's group and my mother's group, they would love you to. They'd be like, "I'm gonna love you till you get right, baby, and put that arm around you. I'm gonna love you till you get right." But it was genuine, you know what I mean?
mhm.
It wasn't coming from a place of I really don't like you, but I have to say this because that's the godly thing to say. It wasn't from that.
so, so the question is,
Mhm.
will you bend, and are you willing to live a closeted relationship?
No, nope, 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 nope. No, you know how I live on a normal basis,
Okay, so then you're gonna
and
import
so
somebody in there. You're gonna have somebody come in town and
you know,
walk around
like,
town holding hands. I mean, is that what you need?
but I didn't walk around Atlanta holding hands,
Okay,
so
because I know that's not something I need.
it's not something
But
I need
sometimes if you're
either.
with that person, you may want to do it. It just may
Right.
like it just may want to hold your hand. It's not a requirement of doing it, but yeah.
I am going to be me, right? I'm going to be me 100. Um, Even in the different areas of ministry that I operate in, I'm going to be me 100. I could care less what people think about me. Who cares?
So you're just not dating in your small town.
I'm not dating in my small town, and that is a personal preference. It's a
It
personal
clearly is a
preference.
conscious decision too. I
Mhm.
mean, you're just saying I'm not going backwards. I can only go forward.
And I'm
Um,
not saying that there are not quality people here. That's not what I'm saying. There are very
no.
quality people here, but on the same time, on the same hand, I have to make sure that whoever I date understand where I'm coming from and understand who I am. Like they have to understand how to live open, and you don't have to be unnecessarily flamboyant. And ain't nothing wrong with being unnecessarily
No.
flamboyant, but that's not me. That's
Yeah,
not
like we're not in those days when you used to have a 2 bedroom and you had your friend come over, your family came in town and this is my roommate. And the uncle or aunt had a roommate for 30 years and everybody's like, neither one of y'all can get it together to pay your own bills. I still got roommates after 50
That's
years.
old Uncle Chess.
Right. And you're just like y'all was really good roommates. I never know somebody had a roommate for 50 years. So we don't have to do that anymore. And I think it would behoove people, like you're saying, to go back into these smaller towns and almost adapt that kind of lifestyle.
Well, educate people, and I said that in an LGBT group I'm in with Department of Veteran Affairs. You have to educate. Ignorance is a situation where you do not know because you have not been taught. So ignorance can be corrected, right? And I think in these small towns, there's a measure of ignorance because they have not been taught. Not calling anyone ignorant, just they have not been taught these things. So therefore, they don't know. You don't know that it's okay, to have a same gender loving relationship. My relationship and your relationship are two different things. It doesn't disqualify yours and it doesn't disqualify mine.
Do you find that being down where you are, guys tend to compartmentalize situations? So like you're for sex and then that's that. And then I hang out with my family. It's at I see you at 2 a.m. Okay.
And so, with me, I'm just like, child, bye.
I just think it's odd for you guys to be so closeted in a small town when you have all the same resources you guys are going to. So to be closeted and y'all have like the one supermarket, the 3 gas stations, the one little coffee donut shop. Like, how do y'all like say, oh, no, I don't know. Like, do you see gay guys in those spaces and you guys are like literally ignoring each other?
Like everyone sees everybody everywhere. The thing is people don't speak. Like if I bumped into you in the Publix, we're gonna be like, "Hey, what's up, Jupiter?" We're gonna laugh and talk right there in the store. We're gonna laugh and talk right there in the store. I'm gonna be like, "Oh my god!" Da, 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 da.
And you're gonna do that, and I'm gonna be like this. Because I'm like, I've been in that town, and ain't nobody gonna chase me into a ditch because y'all never gonna see me again. So I'm like, I'm just passing through. This big gay guy came and gave me a hug. I don't know her.
No, but like people know each other. And one thing I can say is like the younger generation, those people in their 20s and these kids that are in their teens, I am so proud of them. They are very open and they're very out front with who they are and their sexuality. And they are not allowing some of these old stale, dried up bag of ruffled potato chip people to take away their joy or to force them into a shape. Like they're not allowing someone else to write their story. They're writing their own story. And they have the right to live loud, they have the right to live proud, and they have the right to live open and as gay as they like to be. And I'm very happy to see that the groundwork is actually paying off. Groundwork from 20 years ago, 30 years ago is paying off. I remember, I will never forget Jackson, Mississippi 20 years ago, honey, when we was trying to set up that first Black Pride parade.
I won't forget Jackson, Mississippi just a couple of months ago. So if you could go back 20 years, good luck. Go ahead.
And I know it was October of, it was 20 years ago, so it'll be October 2003 when we set up the first Black Gay Pride Parade in Mississippi. Matter of fact, maybe it was October, might have been June, but I remember it was warm. We set up the first Black Gay Pride Parade in Mississippi, and like I told you, they didn't even give us the whole highway. They gave us a lane on the road, a
Us with traffic
lane.
the other way.
Traffic is still passing us in the other side of the yellow line here. Traffic is still whizzing by us, and we are coming down the street marching. But we were pioneers.
Mhm.
It took us marching so that people knew that we were not going anywhere. And I remember doing something very similar in Cleveland and Detroit too.
Mhm.
They already had their Black Pride parades, but they weren't getting the support from the community. So the organization I was a part of always paid for two people from every state, two Black people from every state to come to these different Black gay pride parades. And so you knew you had 100 people that were going to show up that was cheering.
Right. That's right.
And so we would show up and we would do our little conferences, but we had a great time getting around the country to these different parades. And I was on active duty at the time. I was on active duty in the military. So my vacation time went to these little events.
But the thing is this, when it comes to relationships and dating, you got to practice. So how are you practicing right now?
So I have a couple cousins that are gay here, and they are trying to teach me how to be gay in rural Alabama.
Give me an example of how to be gay in rural Alabama.
So you've seen some of the pictures. So, I just gotta dress a little different sometimes. And I kind of like my, 40-year-old, I don't know, Boris Kojo, whatever it is, look I be trying to give.
Oh, Boris Kojo. Oh, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Wow.
you ain't got nothing to say. You ain't got nothing to say about that. You ain't got nothing to say about that.
Listen, I think that you have a platform, and here you are. So
no, but like dating here, what I'm learning to do dating here is to just be calm and to be very patient. Patience.
mm-hmm.
What I'm also learning is to not talk about my life and world experiences. Like people get very offended what I've seen when you start to talk about the different stuff. Like we'll be talking and I'll say like, oh, well, I've been to Brazil. Oh, I've been to Brussels, I've been to France, I've been to Germany, I've been to Israel. And people are like,
and bitch, you back here.
and so it leads to this whole situation, right? And it's like, well, I'm not bragging on it. I just happen to have a job that landed me in over 100 countries, and I was in these countries and I had actual time to get out and visit and see different things. So I'm not bragging about it, but if we're going to talk about the Dead Sea in Israel, I can bring up some pictures of some of the things you want to talk about.
So it's not so much of dumbing yourself down. It's just not being as open at the beginning of these friendships. Okay.
Yes, and open or as forthcoming at the beginning of these friendships, because it's like I don't want to make anyone feel bad. I don't want to make anyone feel bad at all, because my goal is to meet cool people here. And there are very cool people here in my town to meet that are friendly, that are fun. People in my town who have gotten away just as much as I have and traveled the world just as much as I have, and they just chose to live here. Why would they choose to live here? I don't know. But they chose to come back here and live. So,
but the thing is, like we were saying earlier, everybody can't jump ship. So
I can't
then
either,
the town would be dead. So
yeah. I thought about it today. It laid really hard on me today. Really? I should pack up and go on down 59 towards the New Orleans area. Give me an old apartment. But hey.
On that note, you stay right where you are, save your gas money. And this has been fun. And be good to yourself. And next week, we are going to be pulling from your comments, everybody. So if you want to put a new comment, you can. And we're going to start basing our shows on your comments and things you would like to hear us talk about. Oh, right? Exciting. We've become so much more interactive season 2. Still hats and glasses, but we're very interactive season 2.
I gotta get better lighting. So if y'all want me to get better lighting or something, you know, y'all just got to be like, okay, Hannibal, get better lighting. But y'all know how Alabama Power is. So it's sometimes it work right, sometimes it don't work right. So,
can you plug it up or you have to do Wi-Fi?
I can plug it up.
I plug up to my box.
Mm-hmm. And the reason I say that with that type of face is the type of internet we use here.
Well, so if you have a box,
but it's like it's a weird thing. I have short tea off camera, but it's a weird internet.
You know, you always bragging. That's why nobody didn't want to talk to you. I have to show it to you off camera.
I mean, you know, it's such a high speed internet. You know, it's higher than the normal speed. Mind you, we only have one internet speed with the company, and it's called rural.
I thought it was called on.
It's called rural. That's all it says on the bill. $69.99 rural. And if you go over it, it's rural. $69.99 is $69.99.
On that note, we will stop you from being rural, so you don't have to pay for just one rule. Good night, everybody, and thank you for joining us again.
Bye.